And so, Real Madrid come through this one with a 1-0 win, as Craig mentioned. El Clasico just around the corner, coming up against Barcelona this weekend. Nedum Onuoha joining us now to talk more about this. In the end, though, it did come down just to that one goal. Vinny and Jude combining, Real Madrid with the 1-0 win, Craig.
Yeah, and funny enough, the Bellingham goal came at a time when Juve, although with less possession, were starting to be looking a much more dangerous side. We saw the Vlahovic chance. There was a couple of other instances where Real Madrid were playing this. It wasn't a high line. They had basically squeezed Juve just outside their own penalty area. And Stevie mentioned it. It wasn't even a pass. It was more of a clearance that got Vlahovic in. But he had 70 yards to run. Now, they did that a couple of times, which, you know, was a little concerning from a Real Madrid perspective. So Juve were better in the second half. They did create some more chances. You saw some in the highlights. Real Madrid had their own. I think going forward, it was decent from Real Madrid. I think there are worries still at the back. I mean, both themselves and Barcelona, it's going to be such a difficult game to pick at the weekend because of these issues they have on their side. I mean, Valverde played right back. It was Asensio and Militao and Carreras. You've got Rudiger's out, Huijsen's out, Alexander-Arnold's out, Carvajal's out. So it looks like that could be the back four at the weekend. And whilst Valverde's done that job and he's done it reasonably well, I do not like young Asensio alongside Militao. I think Steve and I were talking about this. He just makes a lot of rash decisions. Yep. And I think this is a concern for Xabi Alonso for the weekend. The upside is the 3 points. Mbappe still looks sharp and Jude Bellingham gets himself back on the score sheet, gets more game time, and I don't think there's any question that he will start at the weekend.
You have those same concerns at the back then that you were discussing with Craig, Stevie?
100%, absolutely 100%. Yeah, Mbappe really looks as though he's back to the guy that was at PSG. Every time he gets it, he looks as though he's going to beat somebody or create or score. But unfortunately for Madrid right now, a little bit like Barcelona, as good as they can be and look going forward, you have no idea what's going to happen defensively.
Yeah, it helps to have a world-class goalkeeper, doesn't it, Nedum? He's going to have his work cut out on the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely is. But, you know, this is why they pay him that big money, because he should be able to make a difference like that. And I think, interestingly, for the guys talking about the Real Madrid defence, I think Asensio, he blocked a shot from Lo Sapenda, and I think he's had to come off because of a hamstring injury in that time. So going into that game on the weekend, is it going to be Tchouaméni that's going to be finishing in there in that back four, or is the manager going to try and find something a little bit different? But again, like for this game today, I think in terms of attack, it looked good. You can see the expected goals, all that stuff, the amount of shots that they had, the amount of territory that they had. But I think if Juve were probably a little bit more adventurous, they probably could have had one or two more opportunities in transition beyond that one for Dusan Vlahovic. So, yeah, I think Courtois is going to be busy at the weekend, but I think it makes for a great game of football.
You've got to have that great goalkeeper when you have a dodgy defence. Just ask Nedum in Man City. Yeah. Even though they've kept a couple of clean sheets recently, they've gone out and bought Donnarumma, who's obviously he's a big presence in the goal. But we were talking about this game is sort of, in the end, is taking care of itself, although there were some scares in the second half. And maybe Juve, certainly Vlahovic should have done better, and Openda should have done better. They had a sort of 2-on-1 there. So they did have their chances, but if we push it forward a little bit, as we probably are going to, I'm looking at team selection all the way through. Mastantuono didn't start tonight. They've got Arda Güler, Brahim Diaz played. I think he's unlikely to play at the weekend. But is it a solid midfield? Is it Tchouaméni? Is it Camavinga? Is it Bellingham? Or does he throw an Arda Güler in there as an extra playmaker? Or does Mastantuono play in the right? So there's all these sort of things that are popping up into, I think, Xabi Alonso. This is definitely, you know, they had the Madrid derby, which was very poor for him.
Hence there's been more pressure on this game.
They were very poor in the Madrid derby. He got his team selection very wrong, particularly Bellingham, who wasn't fit. And this is his biggest game by far, certainly since stepping back into Spain. And he has to get his team selection correct at the weekend to make sure he's getting the result against a Barcelona team that, come on, they are there defensively. I know they're both not great defensively, but them defensively, they are there for the taking.
You got to think he has to be strong in the middle, which means that Güler or Mastantuono don't start in there. He's going to have to go with strength. You know, you can't take a chance and playing a ball player, shall we call them, against Barcelona when your back line And as Nedum was saying, even Asensio could be out. You can't afford to take a chance in the middle of the park. So absolutely, in my opinion, 100%, he has to go strong. And it wouldn't be the worst thing, because that back line of Barcelona, Mbappe could do that on his own. Never mind Vinny or whoever else on the other side. So, has to be solid.
I think there's one place up, definitely one place up for grabs in the front three. If he plays the 4-3-3, you'll have Vinicius on the left, you'll have Mbappe through the middle, and there's a place on the right. It's not going to be Rodrigo. It's Mastantuono, probably, or Arda Güler, maybe playing a little bit wider. So that's the one spot. Brahim Diaz played there tonight, but hasn't really started a lot. There is one spot definitely up for grabs if he goes strong in the middle of the park.
And at least Jude Bellingham's fit for this game, because obviously that was the problem, wasn't it, in El Derby?
Yeah, and listen, whilst it didn't look good in Xabi Alonso, he didn't do Jude Bellingham any favours, because no players, maybe there's one or two, but most players are going to say, yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, I can play, I'm good to go. And he'd had 20 minutes of football away from home at the Metropolitana in a derby. And listen, it wasn't just Jude Bellingham, that's not why they lost, but when you're in the middle of the park and you're not fit, and you're not sharp, and you're sucking the air in every time you make a run, or having to chase back and make a tackle, it's not easy. But he's had more game time now. He's got a bit of a tap-in goal tonight, but it's a goal. So that's definitely good news for Xabi Alonso.
It's really hard to call when it's these two teams coming together, regardless of what's happened between the two in their other games this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with the fact that there's new manager in Xabi Alonso, with a slightly different style of play, and then from Barcelona's standpoint, we've seen the sort of issues that they've had now with, say, that high line in some of the games that they've had recently. Even at the weekend, they win the game, but the opposition side, Girona, thinking how many chances could they have taken? Could the game have gone in a different manner? So I think as we approach this one, especially with the Barcelona injuries as well, it's tough to read, because there's no side that feels almost like a shoo-in to win this game of football. And in some ways, this is kind of how we want it. Instead of one team always just being on the low, on the lower side and hoping to sort of get into the game as an underdog. Instead, you're going to have two teams that are going to go toe-to-toe with each other, but carrying their imperfections as well. So I think it's going to be a fantastic game of football and well worth tuning in for.
Nedum, how big a goal is that for Jude Bellingham today, given some of the background noise that's going on at the moment with this player?
To be honest, I think it would be bigger if he would have scored it on the weekend. I think as he approaches this Barcelona game now, I think that's the moment which will probably shine more. Those lights will be brighter. I think this game against Juve today was a game which many people expected Real Madrid to win. For them to be playing at home against the Juve side that, I think before the game, the manager, Igor Tudor, was saying they'd have to have the game of their lives to win it. That's not really the type of game where those moments can be appreciated as much. But it's good for him to be out there, as the guys are saying, for him to be looking fitter, to have sort of had that impact and to get a taste of, scoring goals again. Because if we're going to see him at his absolute best, that's what we're going to have to do lots more between now and the end of the season. So it's a start. It's not necessarily a defining moment, but hopefully for him, it gives him some confidence.
There's not a footballer on the planet who, after scoring a goal, the next time they step on the field, doesn't think they're going to score a goal.
Again.
That's just exactly how it works. As soon as you've scored a goal, next time the next game that comes around, you're running on the field going, I think I might score again today. 100%. That's a big goal for Bellingham. Big goal.
Let's save our powder a little bit. We've got a lot of Clasico preview shows this week.
You're right, because the Clasico's coming up on Sunday. Before that, though, we're going to tell you everything you need to know about it and some specials on the way to it. But this is the big game on Sunday. Our coverage will begin at 10 a.m. on ESPN+. You can catch the game live on ESPN2, on Deportes, and streaming on the app as well.